funny how they're like everything's kind of just regurgitating with the supplements shit right now. It's weird. 5 Hour Energy's like making a comeback too. You know why? Because they're going big on social media right now. They're going hard with influencers right now. Like a lot of these guys, I watch their TikToks or like their YouTube shorts. They're all pumping 5 Hour Energy out of nowhere.
Will Ferrell just did 5 Hour Energy.
Did he? See, yeah, they're doing a big push right now.
I don't mean he just took a shot at it. I mean he was in commercials for it.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, they're going hard on marketing right now.
I wonder
for
if
some
someone
reason.
owns them, like bigger.
Oh.
It was like I remember taking those back in like after like I was in college, like going before work. They were great.
No, they were early. They were with the Red Bull Monster era.
Yeah, and it's you look at it, it's just 20,000% of your B12 for the day. It's like not really much in them.
Just that the whole energy drink spectrum's going crazy still. We talked about Alani selling, right?
I don't think so. Not with
really?
me. Not with me.
Celsius bought Alani for 1.8 mil.
1.8 million?
Billion.
Oh, I was like, what?
Million doesn't seem like enough.
I saw Alani. They go crazy with the marketing though. They go like
they have
Kim K
K
collabs.
Yeah. That's my that's my ex-client.
The guy that owns it?
Yeah, Alani.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, Alani, and then there was another big energy drink news. I forgot what it was.
I don't know how I followed this guy on TikTok, but he ended up he's like doesn't get a ton of engagement. He's like a couple thousand or 1,000 views a video, but his whole thing is like beverage market. All beverages. It's all he talks about. Is like the beverage market. It's his little niche, and I think he does something for like a big beverage company, like his desk job. But anyways, yeah. So I kind of get the scoop on a lot of that stuff that I don't.
Yeah,
even
there's
know
someone I
needed.
follow on Instagram.
I think he might be one of Danny's friends or something.
I follow someone on Instagram that does that kind of for all fitness. He goes into like deep marketing back business. We might have shared him, Sabas. I don't know if it's Jake Haler or something. I forgot his name. He pops up and he talks about a lot of the trends and what's happening.
Like Jake Owen or something like that?
Maybe.
I think it's Owen.
Kind of like a just normal vanilla looking white guy.
Yeah.
That's racist.
Yeah.
5 Hour Energy is owned by the company that started 5 Hour Energy. So
Interesting.
it's probably more in the distribution, on the distribution side. I'm not sure what it is with liquor.
Talk about it's like the perfect product too, because you don't need it doesn't need cold storage.
Yeah.
It's like it's
nobody has
shelf-safe.
any expectation it's going to taste good.
Yeah.
It's like taking medicine. It's like medicine for staying awake.
God, I can't even remember what they taste like, to be honest with you. And I've had probably 100 of them. I have
think
no idea what it tastes like.
That's probably what Mike's product tastes like. Whatever that is in our brain.
Yeah. It's like just tastes like chemicals.
I think it's probably like Isopure. Yeah, probably like kind of slimy. Like
it was
weird
definitely thick.
Sugary, yeah, there's viscous aftertaste, like the same as that vial we were talking about.
Actually, no, 5 Hour Energy is kind of liquidy.
It's liquidy,
pretty
yeah.
liquidy.
No,
you're
but
right.
like it's the aftertaste.
Yeah,
like it
yeah.
sticks on your tongue.
Yeah.
Same with Isopure, because Isopure is pure liquid too.
I'm trying to think like what you guys talk about Isopure. Like I can't even picture it.
It's like it's a glass bottle.
Glass?
Yeah, with like a Snapple top.
What?
Literally Snapple top. I mean, they had it in the meathead gyms I went to in the 90s.
Oh, yes.
Green, like a green apple.
Yes. I remember that shit.
Purple, and then like watermelon. I low-key do like them. I really do, actually.
I remember that.
I have a weird...
That's the modern version.
Yeah, that's like their powder.
That's their
but
new...
I think they really popped off because they're liquid.
Yeah,
they were one of the first really
I remember that.
hydrolyzed.
Oh, they went on
I remember that.
plastic? That's bullshit.
That is bullshit. That's cutting margins.
Look at that. Also, like, look at that, man. That product is blending in everywhere. That is... No one's going to buy that.
Yeah, cutting margins. Oh, Poppy. Poppy just got bought out.
That looks like shit.
Poppy got bought by Pepsi.
Yeah.
Olipop?
Yeah, Olipop.
Oh. I thought that's different.
No, I think it's Poppy.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's a different brand.
Oh, okay.
Poppy started on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Poppy
That's
started on Shark Tank.
probiotics one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like fucking, which is fake anyways, right? It's apple cider vinegar, which
All right, I gotta get in there.
tastes pretty mediocre.
Boy, my kids have these these yogurt covered like strawberry candies. It's like, oh, probiotic. No, this is just fucking candy.
Yeah, you mean yogurt? Yeah.
Poppy.
At least yogurt has something in it. Like, I don't even know if apple cider vinegar really does.
I don't know.
I tried to do the drinking of it, the Brags. I tried it, just couldn't do it.
Couldn't
Like,
do
nah,
it.
you know what?
No.
I'm just gonna eat kimchi. Like, try and eat kimchi like 4 times a week.
No, I eat kimchi every day.
I've never had Poppy, but I can tell you that I am not a fan of Olipop.
I haven't had either.
Either over. Yeah, we were on part of this trip, like our layover on the way to Virginia. we had some, we had lunch at some kind of semi-healthy, whatever bullshit place.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any like normal sodas or anything. So I got like a Olipop, vintage soda, something like that.
Yeah.
Fucking nasty.
No good.
Nasty. I don't want cinnamon in my cola. I mean, that is not a flavor that I associate with cola in the
What's
first
it
place.
sweetened with? Like agave, stevia, or?
I don't know. Good intentions. I don't know. It just wasn't very good.
Wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking and
Wishful
good.
thinking.
The wishful thinking that anyone's going to enjoy drinking it.
Yeah.
It was awful. Like, I can't. If I weren't so thirsty, I hadn't ordered a gigantic sandwich without realizing I was ordering a gigantic sandwich.
Oh, it was huge.
It was huge. Yeah, I had no idea.
It's rare these days. Everything's so scaled down.
The food was pretty good at this place. It's just the choice of bevies was,
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Well, the bevies is the most half important part of the meal. You gotta have a good bev.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Can't
too.
forget the bev. No.
So is this is like a? So what is the difference with these sparkling prebiotics? Is it just
Nothing.
basically like a mild kombucha or what?
No. It's literally apple cider vinegar. It's
A
trash.
shit ton of fiber.
No, I think it's literally apple cider vinegar and.
So they match the taste of the vinegar with other shit
with other stuff.
Yeah.
and call it a prebiotic.
Yeah, what was the one that went crazy for a while? The low-cal. What's it called? Not Zevia. Zevia's older. There was one that went crazy for a while. It was just a bubbly water with a little flavor. The first one to go crazy.
LaCroix?
LaCroix. It's a LaCroix with apple cider vinegar.
Got it.
Yeah. And that's why they taste like trash, because LaCroix was also trash.
Oh, I love LaCroix.
Really?
Yeah. I like all the sparkling water.
I mean, I like sparkling water too, but I'm not going to drink that and inherently say, like, this is a very good diet drink.
It's not very
I
good.
don't drink them for diet factor. I just
Yeah.
like sparkling. I just like carbonation.
Yeah, but I drink plain water.
Like plain carbonated water?
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
a little taste. I like
I
add
get
a little
glass
flavor.
I get glass fucking Pellegrinos.
Dude, we're not all balling like you.
No, that's cheaper than a fucking Zevia or a Poppy.
You're like
buy-
that guy that washes
you
his
buy 'em
face
in
with
bulk.
sparkling water on Instagram.
I would if I
The
could.
sprinter guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Bro, I fucking walked here. Let's not talk about balling. I literally bought a $2 Uber scooter because I don't have a car.
I was gonna say, did you bring the lime out?
Yeah,
for it?
I don't have a car.
The lime.
Balling. Someone tried to like rag me for buying like creatine, like expensive creatine. I'm like, dude, like it's just priorities. Like you spend fucking $500 a month on shitty subscriptions while you get fat and eat pizza. Like I just spend my $10 extra on
Or $200 at one night out at the bar.
Yeah. I just spend it on things that matter to me, like my health.
I saw you're doing like a chewable creatine.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what are you, 7 years old?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do the same thing. I get one from Amazon that's pretty cheap.
I do my magnesium. The issue with creatine in chewables right now is
You eat like 20 of them.
no, you need 3 to 5. But it's
5's too many.
I take 4.
I'm trying to get 10 grams of creatine a day, but the issue is a lot of the companies are skirting the edges like everything else. So creatine's the cheapest thing in the world, and they still don't even put it in there.
I go to 5-star and I get that big jug of like that blue creatine.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like
Creatine
it's
mono.
10, it's 10 grams a scoop.
No, you can get it. You can get a year supply for under $50 for sure. But I don't drink shakes. Like I'm not gonna put it in anything.
Yeah, that's my issue too.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna dry scoop
I mix it with like a BCAA that
Yeah,
I just drink for. The one I take is kind of like a hydration BCAA combo. So I just flavor the creatine. Honestly, is all I really drink it for.
Yeah, I don't really drink
I
any
drink it right
of that.
before I work out.
I got little red gummy bears that taste like red, so that's all I need.
Yeah.
Well, I'll look into it. I'll give it a shot, maybe.
No, they're good. Yeah, they're good. If you get the right brands, because like more than half of them have like
Like a big steak's got like what, 1-2 grams
probably
tops?
probably
Yeah.
one and a big ribeye tops. Yeah.
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 So you could like almost eat like a couple if you eat a lot of red meat. You can eat like a couple grams.
How many ribeyes you eat in a day?
I'm saying if you have one and then you have some ground beef. There's some in beef, right?
Yeah, probably not enough.
Not enough.
Because I eat like
No, I'm
two,
not saying like completely
I eat
separate.
2 pounds of beef a day.
So you're probably getting like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
like
not
I think
enough.
it's like what ground per pound is like a conservative
yeah maybe
amount.
yeah. I mean the powder's the best obviously because it's cheap.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I'm not gonna dry scoop shit. I'm fucking 36, and then
You're not supposed to really dry scoop creatine anyways, though. You should probably drink it. It's like you don't like drink any kind of juice or anything.
nothing.
I honestly.
Coffee. I put it in my coffee back in the day, and that was a terrible experience.
Yeah, I mean, I would just honestly, I would sometimes.
That's a no.
Yeah. No.
At work, I would just pour it into a coffee mug, 2 scoops, and then just swirl it and fucking shoot it back.
Yeah, I hate that.
It tastes like shit, but
I got a high gag reflex.
They have a flavored creatine powder now too, though.
Yeah, that's
it
gross,
Tastes like
too.
blue raz, and then you just drink it.
That makes me want to gag too.
You know what? I got nothing for you then.
I know. I just overdid it. Like ages 20 to 25, I took every powder. I'm taking like on the clock BCAAs, on the clock shakes, on the clock this, you know, and it's
Yeah.
just gross. It's so gross. None of it tastes good.
It's all
That's
super
why I don't do pre-workout now. You know, I've been doing energy drinks or yerba.
Yeah.
They're the only things that taste good. Protein's gross. Yeah, creatine. The gummy is a great event. I take my magnesium in gummy form too.
I just take like this. I have a bunch of stuff I take in the morning, but I just Costco fucking big bottles of
Yeah.
all my supplements. I think
Yeah.
the magnesium I takes like a 400 milligram.
Yeah. I just take it before bed, but yeah, I do gummies. Everything else I take pills. Like I'm not anti-pill. Yeah, I take fish oil and D3 and
Yeah.
whatever the fuck.
K2 D3 combo or something.
Yeah, trend pill form.
Pill form trend. BP 700.
That feels like maybe a little bit of a segue into the athletes in this particular
Yeah.
documentary who are, one assumes they're taking creatine and protein, and like, what else can they get away with?
SARMs.
SARMs.
Yeah.
They probably can they or can they not
The
get away?
latest SARM. The latest SARMs. I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they say they test you around too, but I don't know if they really do like that. And they say WADA protocols, but obviously so was Lance Armstrong, right? If there's a will, there's a way. Although I wasn't that impressed with their physiques, to be honest. I've seen way more Jack Natties.
We're
Yeah,
talking.
besides like the number one, the king of the natties.
The tall dude?
No,
the black dude?
Michael.
No, Mike.
Oh.
Big Mike. Dirty Mike.
The more I looked at O'Hearn, though, like, honestly, like, I think you don't believe him because of how he, like, moves and talks, not because of his physique. When I just looked at his physique, I'm like, I think he kind of could be Natty.
Yeah, I would like to go down this rabbit hole. Just I have been hearing about Mike O'Hearn for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've met him a couple times, but we used to hang out with people who used to hang out with him, and those people said there's no way. Like some people in this doc did, there's no way he's Natty. Like I heard I know who sells to him. It's like, well, do you know that for sure?
Yeah. I mean,
And-
people say that about, like, LeBron James, too, though. And, like, I think LeBron could be Natty.
I don't think
Yeah,
there's a
I
chance
mean-
LeBron is Natty, but that's different.
He's on something, right? Like, what is
I mean,
it?
have you seen him as a freshman in high school?
Okay, he's not like muscular though. He's not.
No, he was
big.
jacked. He was like 6'2", like 175 jacked at 14 years
Yeah,
old.
but 162, 162, 175 isn't like a big body.
We're talking about pre-puberty.
No, for sure.
6'2", 170 is fucking jacked.
I
That's a
guess,
natty.
yeah.
That's a natty bodybuilder.
Yeah. No, I think he's. I don't think he's like. He's definitely taken like everything that is available to them, right? Like he's gotten the best treatment. He's getting
Yeah.
the best. Like he's probably doing like other shit though. Like that's, maybe he's not taking steroids per se, but he's like definitely taking like stem cell and all this other
Yeah.
shit and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
these
yeah.
like.
But that's not like anabolic.
No, I guess not. And I'm thinking like what's it called? All this new stuff.
What, peptides?
Peptides.
Yeah,
He's on all that.
peptides are amino acids.
Yeah.
So that's not illegal either. Or like
Yeah, I mean,
this.
you just buy them on the internet, right?
Yeah.
You can both buy steroids. On the
Yeah,
internet.
yeah, you can buy anything on the internet.
That's true.
Head down though.
Silk Road.
Yeah. Shout out Ross.
He's out of jail now, right? Silk
Ross
Road kid?
Albrecht, he's
Yeah.
free. Our hero.
And the Pirate Bay guy died.
Yeah.
Remember Pirate Bay?
Yeah, and
I
it
did.
crashed his plane.
Yeah.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, the plane crashed, yeah. Anyways,
It went down. Yeah, we're talking about the Generation Iron 4 or Natty 4 life. And Michael Hearn is kind of a through line on this. His interview is dropped into various portions of this documentary. We usually kind of do this at the end, but like, what was your like overall impression of this production, and just in terms of production quality and stuff, versus the other ones we've seen from Generation Iron?
I think production was the same level, but the rest of it I actually thought was shit.
yeah, it was pretty bad.
But a lot of it again goes to like the
The subject.
yeah, the subjects, and not the subject, not natty bodybuilding. It's the subjects who they chose.
Yeah.
Like
Those weren't very interesting people.
no one had a line, no one had a story, no one had a single story. You know, we had the fucking Zoolander looking tall blonde dude, and then the OG black dude. And
He
that's
was like
it.
a firefighter.
I don't know, bro. He
Right?
dressed
He had, like, a
crazy. That was a
kidney.
crazy era. I'm glad I never dove into the skinny jeans, deep, wide swoop neck, chop tee.
You know what?
I never succumbed to that.
I
held my ground. You probably had one.
Chris Terry.
No, I did not.
You didn't have a chopped up,
Rob Terry.
look like you threw a swoop neck, half cut tee that ran through a lawnmower.
No, I never did that. I never even went on the trend of the
Swoop neck tee
of the bottom tee.
That's,
Oh,
yeah, that's the
yeah.
same tee.
I
That's the
never
same-
did those either.
That's
scallop bottom.
crazy.
Never bought a single one.
Me neither.
Yeah,
But
wasn't my
every
thing.
single human had one.
They were a big thing. I followed
then
a lot of
dress
trends in
boots
clothing,
only.
Don't get me wrong.
Dress boots only. None of them wore sneakers
Yeah,
because
like the Chelsea
jeans are
boots
too
only.
yeah, or like even dressier, yeah, and that's it. And then the swoop necks.
Yeah,
I
I
hate
never
that.
did that era.
When did this come out?
2020.
But they had
So
to
this is a
film.
COVID movie.
They
Well,
had to have filmed earlier.
It was filmed in 19, I think.
Even that guy was late on the trend then, because that shit's like 2017. I feel like.
Oh, but he was also like, I think he was like in the middle of nowhere. You know, like we live in California where trends are
Maybe.
5 years ahead, right? You know what I
Maybe.
mean?
I just feel like with the internet era, all that's blurred. You know.
It's still though, man. He's like not everybody's on the. You know,
No, but that was
these kids.
such
A
a
lot of
bad
these kids.
look.
It's funny. Like kids these days, like a lot of them are on the internet, but also a lot of them aren't.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's weird.
Bodybuilders are weird too. They are, but yeah, I think the subjects, the humans, were the boring part, and even O'Hearn, you know, and the same deal. Ran parallel.
He was the
and
most
hung out with
interesting
them.
part of the whole
No, but
thing. Right?
he's
Once he was-
actually insanely funny and charismatic, and he doesn't like let it out. He's like kind of fun to be around, cracking jokes and shit. Like he's pretty cool, but like that interview, I didn't think was that cool either.
I had exactly the opposite impression. Every time I met him, I felt like he was being really fake and performative. We had him on the old
he's
podcast.
an actor, right?
Yeah,
and it just nothing about it seemed real. And
Well, I
he
didn't say
seemed-
genuine. I
Yeah.
didn't say genuine. I said that he could talk and make jokes. Yeah.
To me, I mean, like when I met him, it was all just, it felt fake. It felt like there was not anything real going on here. I actually had a more positive impression of him after this than because it was like toned down.
I like how he also just kind of talks. They ask him the question. He just talks about it. He doesn't really avoid the questions about it.
Right.
He just kind of talks about it and talks about this, like how guys do it and why they would do it, in a very like a professional, like informative way.
Yeah.
But like not like he's like trying to like overcompensate with knowledge to hide the fact that he's doing. He's just kind of just like seems like he knows all about everything and he's not pretending like he doesn't. Right?
Yeah.
I think it's probably the topic matter because a couple of the like panel are actually really solid. Like Mike Ryan, I met him too, and Saladino, who I ran parallel to but haven't met in a long time or never met, but we just have a lot of mutuals. Like Saladino, I think a lot of it's too close to home for some of them because they're still in the game. Like Saladino trained Thor, not Hap Thor, but Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
You know, and he even mentions like, oh yeah, like looks are different now. But I'm like, well, not the new Thor. Like the Thor you train now is fucking 280. You know, looking like a linebacker. So it might be too close to home, and he's probably on some kind of TRT or something himself. Like everyone is. Mike Ryan clearly is, and didn't really want to talk about it that much. But like his biceps like overtake his body in that interview. Like you can't even see his torso because his biceps are so
Which
big.
guy?
Kind of gray hair celebrity trainer.
Mike
Oh
Ryan.
yeah.
And then they don't really like explain who the panel are. Like, yeah, they have the name there, but like Mike Ryan, celebrity trainer. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Saladino, like trainer. You know, like who have they trained? What have they done? Like, how long they've been in the industry or whatever. And I know they say like, oh, I've been at Gold since 1990, but that doesn't give much either. And then again, the natty subjects themselves are just like.
They're snooze fest.
But that is bodybuilding. You know, we've talked about in the other bodybuilding stuff we've covered, like a lot of bodybuilders to get to the level they do physically, mentally, like, yeah, you kind of go into like a weird temple. Shout out my boy Joe Sullivan. I just ran into Joe, 220 world squat holder, you know, been in powerlifting since he was 16. He's probably going on 30 now and throwing his hat into the bodybuilding ring. And he's sub 10% body fat right now. I don't know when his show is, April, so he's probably like 4 weeks out or less. And I saw him like, you know, head into the gym, and he was cheery, in a great mood, but we had like a mini chat, and I just know how difficult that is. And Joe's a pretty social cat and funny and whatever, and you know, like to do that for 10 years like some of these bodybuilders, let alone be a natty, adds a whole. It's actually, I would argue, natty bodybuilding's harder than enhanced bodybuilding, just in the sense of like you have nothing helping you. You got no extra gas.
Yeah.
Like they're like running on a race engine with like nitrous. Like they have extra gears, and like Natty guys are like running on like a 1950s diesel engine, just praying to chug along.
You're hurt. You're actually feeling your aches and pains.
Yeah, you got no saw. Yeah,
you're not recovering.
Yeah, you get some like pains or something when you're enhanced, and like there's compounds to kind of like assist that. You know, like you got nothing but Advil, and so like I understand why the subjects aren't super funny. You know, like I understand why they live like boring lives. But if you're gonna make a documentary on it, I mean, they had Lane Norton in the other one we had. Like, how do you not have Lane Norton in this one?
That's a really good question.
You know, like, why don't you tap into like the real kings of the game? Like, why isn't Eric Helms interviewed in this? Why isn't there's tons of names you can mention that or even like the ones that aren't maybe the world's best bodybuilders. I mean, Doug Miller should have been in this. There's tons of names I can come across that should have been in it. Even Matt Ogus, because then I feel like the through line or like the real story is like, why isn't it popular? Right? I feel like that's the question they're trying to answer.
That was almost kind of like the subtext, right?
Yeah, for
or
sure.
But then they didn't interview popular people. Like, it is popular. You're just interviewing the people. Yeah, look at Matt Ogus.
I don't know.
Like, Matt Ogus created YouTube Fitness, and he's a natty bodybuilder.
Okay.
Like, Omar Isuf, even Barquan's done one. Like, again, I know I'm, like, biased because they're my friends, and it's the world I come from, but, like, what about Max Taylor? Like,
maybe this was made, like, before it kind of became more popular, though.
No, Matt Ogus vlogged in 2011.
Really?
Yeah, like they're just looking in the wrong places. The guy, like, and obviously, I assume the dude driving the car is the producer or like the director.
The director, the guy who is running all the interviews.
Yeah, like I feel
like
was
on camera for the maybe first time in anyone that we've seen. I don't know. I didn't necessarily find his presence all that necessary, and I thought his voiceover added nothing.
Well, it almost feels like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
There was some question, I forgot what it was, but even the guys like answered him weird because he's like it like went over his own head. I just feel like he could have just chose. The panel was decent. It's a decent panel, but it just could have, like, if you want to dive deep into, Max Taylor's a great representation of it. Like, Max Taylor blew up on TikTok, similar to this era, huge on Instagram, huge on YouTube, and does natty bodybuilding. You know, like, it's very popular. Like, he has way more followers than most IFBBs. You know? And, like, the freak show or, like, their whole answer is, like, semi-real, too. Like, to get it popular, you don't want to see a 160-pound guy on stage. You want to see
There was
Ronnie.
that one shot where they showed all those guys in that amateur event lining up. And you're like, well, this is just not.
No, it's bad.
This isn't good.
These
These guys look like they're about 5'5", 135.
That's bad.
And it was like, well, this looks like the guy I see at 24. Like,
No, it's bad.
Yeah, it was not impressive.
But NPC is too, honestly. If you go to like a local show, there's going to be one dude that just has no clue what's going on and is like 15% body fat. You know?
is there like the people that can, you can just like, there's like the marathon people, right? They're just like, oh, I did a marathon. You're just like, yeah, you walked in 12 hours. Yeah, sure, you did a marathon, sure. But that's like not doing a marathon.
No, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, but you can do that in bodybuilding too, where you're just like, oh, I got on stage as a bodybuilder. And it's like, well, you just like walked up there and paid the fee.
No, I think walking a marathon is actually more impressive.
It is for sure, because you can literally just sign up and just walk up there.
Yeah, and you kind of tan and you kind of diet.
Yeah.
No,
like
I think it's a thing. It's a thing, because then people want to chuck it off their bucket list or whatever. But then like pay a little respect to the sport. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that OG was cool. They didn't like dig much into a story. Like, I still don't know anything about him. You know, the guy that
Mike was training.
The guy that ended up the one that ended up winning. The guy was like, was he 50? What did he say? 48?
Oh yeah.
You know, like, that's
They all
impressive.
looked the same too, so I lost track of who was who.
But he looked good. Like, he honestly did look good, and for 48, he looked insane, and like win every Olympia. But I don't even know. I know natty bodybuilding has the similar issues to powerlifting, where there are like 3 feds that are pretty legit, so it spreads the competition kind of thin. Because a lot of my buddies in it, I don't even think they talk about Olympia. They go to like some other worlds. Like, that's a little bit more competitive. And
maybe they thought for the interview or for the documentary, the word Olympia would be more like recognizable.
It is. And I also think it's the director just not knowing enough before he started, because like Olympia is the biggest IFBB. But look up Doug Miller when you get a chance too, Jim, just to show the audience.
Probably Googled what's the Olympia of natural bodybuilding.
Right. Like I don't, because there's the WNBF or something. There's a couple other feds I know that are pretty popular. Which interesting. One of them talked about coming here to compete, right? Oh, it was O'Hearn. I think O'Hearn talked about coming to NorCal because there is a weird natty bodybuilding thing here. Like that's what I don't want to say it started here by any means, but like there's a real like tight knit group of folks.
Who am I looking up?
Doug Miller.
That's what I thought you said.
Talk about like not natty allegations, but yeah, it's maybe Doug Miller. Pro. That first one is for sure him. There's like non-natty allegations and things, but a lot of people like reckon this guy to be the best natty bodybuilder of all time.
It's like there he looks freaky, but then also it's lighting, good photo, flexing. Pump.
Yeah, and size, right? Like everything on TV or Instagram, you can't tell. Like I think Doug's on stage at like 200 pounds.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
there is a good video.
And he's like 5.
Well, that was the thumbnail. Apparently, we have to.
He's like 5'8".
Endure a talking video. I'm so over talking videos.
Yeah, or just Google. You just Google Doug Miller bodybuilding and go to images or something.
What's his name?
Doug Miller.
No, like his Instagram name.
Oh,
Doug
Miller Pro.
Right.
Doug Miller.
That was a different Instagram. 66K. Oh wow.
There we go.
And I think don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure he's close to 200 pounds, which is very impressive. But he definitely could be natty too. I mean, look at Russ Swole, bro. Russ got up to 200 pounds easily, plus some, and looks very similar. You know, like I think people underestimate like genetic deviation.
I was going to say that the genetics are maybe the most important thing in the whole thing. It's
they had that chat too,
especially
right?
for natural bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I think for everything on Earth. I think for everything on Earth, genetics are the most underrated thing. But humans are so egotistical; they want to claim work ethic and they want to claim mental fortitude and they want to claim all these things. Like, and then like
you just don't win the genetic lottery. You get on the other end of it for sure.
Yeah, and their arguments are like, well, you have to work. Like, yeah, you have to be exposed to the stimulus, sure, right? Like, same with basketball. Like, the best basketball player ever could have never been born near a hoop. You know, like, yeah, that's possible, but it doesn't mean his genetic disposition doesn't mean he has the opportunity to be the best basketball player. Like, you need exposure, you need opportunity 100%. And especially something like bodybuilding where it's just not that popular. The best bodybuilder of all time could be, hidden somewhere for all we know.
The interesting thing was that for a documentary about natty bodybuilders, like at least a third of this documentary was talked about steroids.
Yeah.
Well, you just can't talk about not natural bodybuilding without talking about steroids.
Yeah. I feel
that's why I think it probably hurts its popularity, because it's just like no matter what, there's going to be people that doubt it.
Yeah.
There's gonna be people that are, there's never just going to be this like consensus that this is like, these are natural. That's it. This should be the most celebrated because it's healthy. It's actually health and fitness related. It's not about being unhealthy.
Except that it is.
Except that it is, but no one's ever going to view it that way.
Because at the end, it's extremely unhealthy. They did talk about it a little bit.
Oh, you mean like just like like the diet,
Dieting.
the cutting?
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, but
in comparison,
you got to compare it to what?
It's healthier.
I think it's healthier and unnatty, and then it's definitely healthier than like the average American.
Yeah, it's just that it's unhealthy in the periods of like the late prep and
right. But compared to what? Compared to what?
Yeah. Well, no, it's unhealthy, period.
I know,
but it's not compared to what? It's unhealthy, period.
Right.
They are not in a good health space.
No,
when they're
for
on
sure.
stage.
When
I
you're on
think-
stage, no, yeah.
But again, I think they're healthier than
dehydrated, you're
60% of Americans.
Their lifestyle in general is probably more healthy, but those periods of time are not,
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. But in the bodybuilding world, that is actually more health and fitness than any other thing, right?
Yeah, I would
the
agree.
natural.
Probably.
I mean, like, yeah, I kind of.
I even think in the world. That's what I mean comparing.
I guess
Like
there's also-
everyone's eating pizza, chugging beers, 8 beers every Friday. Like that's normal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So like yeah, and again they don't do it for health. Like I know the one guy said he did, and he did look healthy. Like that 48-year-old looked great.
Yeah.
You know, he looked happy, he looked healthy, his skin looks good, all that shit. But that was the other. Yeah, it's more going back to the genetics. Like I don't know why they always. I guess it depends why you made the movie, right? Because if you're trying to go, the whole thing is like a steroid natty or not chase down, right? Like even the guy. So a lot of the questions of the tall Russian-looking cat, they're always just talking about natty or not, and his allegations. Although he didn't look that good to me, to be honest. But You know, for like they were saying like he's the next coming or whatever. But
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know.
Coming of what?
Yeah, yeah. Well, just because he won, I guess the last one. I don't know. Again, and that's what I mean. Like, I think there's so many federations because I've definitely seen better looking natty bodybuilders that I know for like almost a factor. Like even Ryan Doris back in the day. Like I know Ryan still trains now, but when Ryan Doris competed, like Ryan looked insane. And Ryan, same thing, was like $190 on stage, and I'd put my hat in the ring to say he's natty for sure. I've known Ryan for a long time. Yeah, there's just better subjects they could have covered, and it does just feel like a natty or not. And then again, the panel they're interviewing is all steroid guys, so like clearly they're trying to like Greg Valentino.
I was gonna say that was my
Yeah.
question. It's like, what is Greg
Yeah.
Valentino doing in this documentary?
That's the guy we talked about the other time that had the world record arms from synthol purely. He was one of the
right.
he was
Yeah.
he was the guy with the fucking painted on. I didn't notice how painted on his goatee is. I don't think there was a single follicle.
Yeah, it's just the spray.
That's, yeah.
No, I swear to God, he had a thin Michael Jordan mustache and a goatee that I think was painted on. That's crazy.
Yeah, the whole thing was just fucking kind of just blue ass. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, it was way worse than I had hoped. Because I think there is like, yeah, and the other thing again, like because it's
Why was Kai in it?
why is Kai alluding to be a natty?
Like,
He was like alluding to be a natty. the whole time.
Isn't the rumor that he was natty until he got his pro
No,
card?
I think he did. I think he did because I've seen pictures of him at his IFBB debut. He was like 19, and he looks so different, and he looks like he could be natty. But again, talk about genetics, right? Like,
well, they also show him like cut the cameras off before he pulls his steroids out, and the other like what was the other one?
yeah, the main one.
The main one.
Yeah,
First
the first
The
one.
first generation iron. He's like they like basically he has a little small fridge in his room, remember? And he's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and we got to do the other stuff, and then he's like,
Yeah.
cut the cameras off, kind of thing, and then he fucking it's okay. So
Yeah.
what are we doing?
I don't know any of it. It's just such a weird world. It's a very weird. Brings weird people to a weird thing. Yeah, I don't know. It was a trash movie though. I don't know why.
It was like they made it to make it. I guess that's what it felt like. It's like,
they-
who do we have on speed dial? Let's put this thing together right quick. Grab Mike, get Mike in here.
I think that's the rumor of like them in general. Although it's not like I've talked to people about it, but just like feeling the atmosphere is like they made Generation Iron, which was supposed to be like Pumping Iron 2 of the modern day, and it did like okay, and then they just started whipping out movies on every topic they could, you know, like. And then the poor ladies in this thing, like that's how I knew.
They were in it for like 2 minutes.
Well, that's all that too. But that's how I know the Olympia isn't the top because again, I've no like natty figure pros and they look fucking insane. The other thing that makes the women's
they
department
didn't look that good. The lady that won looked like
No,
she
that's what I'm
didn't even have
saying.
the best body out there.
That's what I'm saying. The other thing too is with women, if it was bikini or figure, until very recently, and even still, if you have good genetics, you can compete in IFBB, where men just can't. Right?
Yeah.
Like they physically can keep up to the par and do well in the IFBB being natural. Just because like because that's why like wellness is really popular now or physique like Dana Lynn Bailey's world and that's just getting more jacked and more jacked over time where figure and bikini just haven't. So a lot of bikini girls tend to be
What did the other one that lady said she won? Like nightgown or some shit?
yeah they're
What
Ball
does that
gown.
mean?
yeah
Ball gown.
they have a
What the fuck
lot of
is
weird
that?
shit. They have like
Nightgown would be hysterical.
Nightgown.
I mean same thing.
It's
yeah.
like their nighttime clothes.
Yeah.
No, but
Pillow
ball
fights.
gown, like like a long ball gown, like you'd wear to a ball.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
competition still where you'll
What happened
do
at the same place as the Olympia?
Apparently, yeah.
They do
And
it at the Arnold, where you're. It might be old school wellness because new wellness is just like centaur ass body, like Brazilians dominate that thing. It's just like big old legs, jack delts. But they have old school ones. One like aerobic shit where they're doing like push ups and backflips in a bikini, and then there's one where you come out in like a more like Miss America. Where you're doing a bikini, but you're jacked. You're doing maybe not a talent, but you're doing like a gown.
Yeah.
You're doing like a nightgown. You're
You're just
doing
not singing about.
No,
you're not
and-
singing Wizard of Oz. or
and you're
some
not
shit
saying
up
like world peace for everyone kind of thing.
there. Yeah.
I don't think there's an interview, but you wear like 2 or 3 different things. Actually, the first time I was ever like exposed to bodybuilding, I think really was my orchestra teacher growing up, like 6th to 5th through like 8th grade. She did like the physique stuff, and I always noticed her biceps. Obviously, she's fucking jacked and tan and like fucking directing me.
Yeah.
But I think she used to do more like that kind of stuff, kind of the
Okay.
push-ups. It almost looks like cheerleading-ish. You're like
Mm.
jacked cheerleading almost.
Well, Miss
That's all it
Universe
looks
does
like, yeah.
does ball gown. I can't find like a bodybuilding federation doing it.
Is that same Miss Universe as bodybuilding though, or is that Miss
No,
Universe?
it's
Yeah,
Miss Universe.
yeah,
It's regular Miss Universe.
yeah. Because obviously, like Arnold was Mr. Universe for a second too. Like Universe, I think in the 60s, 70s was above Olympia.
And you got Arnold in the documentary randomly just talking shit about the current state of like
Yeah.
pro bodybuilding
Yeah.
proportions.
Yeah, which is funny.
Yeah, I was like, well,
No, they don't look good.
But that's because he also like tiptoes the line of being natty. Like he didn't like admit to any PEDs until like a year ago. You know, he always like just kind of like crawled around it.
Well, he always claimed too. It's like no gear until like 3 months out.
yeah, and it was only D-ball, and it was only
That's his claim.
when I remembered to take it or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he claimed at least. Yeah.
It was.
Like we didn't really use drugs until like the last stretch of the training, and then that was it. And then
Yeah.
everything else was just like working out 8 hours a day and fucking eating our faces off. And
Yeah, which proves even more it's just genetics. Same thing. There's those young pictures of Arnold like powerlifting when he's 18, and he looks the same, just smaller.
yeah,
You know?
there's the factor too. Like we tend to forget about, or people tend to forget about. It's like, yeah, these dudes are literally training 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
They're eating fucking 5,000-7,000 calories a day. It's like of like clean food. It's like if anybody does that, like you're gonna get results, genetics or not.
There we go. That's the
USBF.
This is the
that's
bodybuilding version.
natty bodybuilding.
Got it. Oh, I can see
Even
why this
down.
could be a thing. It makes sense. You can. This is where shoulders are very important,
Yeah.
and like the chest, the pec line.
Yeah, see, even USBF, not that I don't even know if I've heard of it. Like I think the director just didn't know that much about like the culture, because like pro bodybuilding's so easy. There's IFBB and like that's it. Like there's some WBFF in Australia and some places that are more popular, but like IFBB's world renowned, the place to go, right? It's the NBA, where they just don't have that natty bodybuilding. So I don't think he did like his research to like who to talk to, because it could be good. It could be better than the other ones.
Think
you
so?
know? Yeah, I think it could.
Especially for the women, at least. I think it's probably way more popular with the women than the men.
Yeah, there
no one
is
wants to go up there on stage and look at a 135-pound man.
Yeah, that's true.
You just don't.
Yeah, but both of them are more popular now than ever. Like kind of like you said, like run the 5K on the weekend type sport.
Yeah.
Some people
it's
just
the
like
entry
kind of
level.
do it. Yeah, some people.
Then they
kinda
start
do
doing
it.
gear.
Yeah, and a lot of them go to NPC and get embarrassed, because they don't. Again, the world doesn't know about natty bodybuilding. That's why this documentary could have had like a real impact.
I thought in the
I think it's too early, or maybe it was made too early. It wasn't
Maybe.
popular enough in 2020 natural bodybuilding. I don't think.
I think it was just as popular as now, though.
You think so? With
Yeah.
like TikTok though, like TikTok's
Yeah.
I feel like made it way more popular.
I don't know. I can't
Don't you think? What do you think?
I'm not on TikTok like that.
I just don't think natty bodybuilding is like popular now either. Like I don't see the growth.
Yeah.
I think the growth was from like 2012. Like natty's not cool anymore. Like natty, it was cool to be natty like 2011 and 20.
I think
18.
everything's just more freaky now.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah,
young freaks, kids getting on gear at like 14.
no, like unapologetically, like their
Yeah.
YouTube channel is Trend Twins.
Yeah.
That's the name of the channel. Kid
Yeah,
looks like
those
he's
kids are just
35.
like
He's
the-
20.
Yeah, they're just the fucking bottom feeders of the society though. They're just degenerates.
But again, like that's what's going to get popular. So like that argument of this stuff was probably right. Like like IFBB is going to be popular because people want to see a freak show. Like yeah, like you don't want to go, bro. Have you ever tried to watch like a men's league basketball game? Like it's the most painful thing you could ever watch in your life,
that's
right?
not
Like you want to see the ball go through the net. Like you want to see LeBron James, And it's the same with bodybuilding. Like yeah, you don't want to see like the 1000th kind of best. Like you do want to see the fucking freaky best.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to watch someone's dad brick it from
Right. Well, and on top of it, like none of it's truly popular, because like no random person's like, man, I'm gonna go to the Olympia. I want to see the stage tonight. Right? Like it's popular to go there when you're already in the industry. If you're in the industry, you want to go see it. Or if you're like 20 years old and just getting into lifting, you might be into it. But like they act also like the IFBB, like the Olympia is like fucking the Super Bowl. Like
I don't understand, dude. What is it? Why? Okay. Now we might throw this into another direction, but like,
feel free.
it's just like you look at this like CrossFit now being for sale again, right?
Yeah.
It's just like
yeah.
you're like, who's stupid enough to fucking buy this?
It's got to be a fire sale, right? I mean,
Kind of, yeah, but it's just like I understand if you're buying it for like the numbers, like the last people did, but it's like this is never gonna be.
I got
this
two
big thing. It's
I got
never
two
gonna be a
purchasers.
big sport
I got two purchasers.
for the CrossFit.
Yep.
Donald Jr. one of them?
Maybe Donnie with his deadlift.
Dude, Donnie Jr. like it goes to a CrossFit gym wherever he's at, and people think he might potentially be putting together like a firm to buy it.
Oh, maybe. I mean, they got the money, but the one is High Rocks, right? Because you're buying it for the data.
Yeah, you're buying it to Well, the people that are actually buying it, I think it's they own Hustle Up app and they own.
Oh, there's someone buying it for sure.
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't know there was a buyer.
There's already like this there's a pretty good direct line.
The other idea is Reebok.
Dude, Reebok's broke, man.
Well, I mean, CrossFit's broke too. Like they can't be charging you $10 bill. You know, like they ain't got a lot to offer you either. You have you got bloody hands.
Yeah, Glassman got out at like the perfect time when he
or got kicked out.
Well, yes and no. There was also a there's a whole thing with that too, where people were basically putting out information and false bullshit that's been completely debunked just to drive the price down. So that their people can buy it for a lower price. Yeah. There's a lot of that shit going on, and it's been proven.
But I could see Reebok making a move at it, right? Because that was the prime, and like if they double back down on fitness, like I know they hired Shaq to be like their CMO in a sense, and so he's trying to do some basketball stuff. But like,
I don't know how much you guys have been looking into it, but the World Fitness Project, they're going to start opening up like affiliate programs too now.
Oh, interesting.
And they're the ones that came in to try and start this new competition series to kind of compete with the games. And they've got some big people, but they're kind of doing like the live method, where like these people are getting like a wage to
big
compete,
stipend or something.
Yeah, and it's all kind of this upfront like hope, but it's like we've seen this before.
That would
we
be
had the grid league that had the best athletes at the peak of CrossFit.
I think it was
and
fun to
failed,
watch. I thought
for sure, but it failed miserably, and they blew $30 million in like a year, and it would just dissolved. Right?
I think the affiliate and even like franchising in general, like
I mean, it's still around, but like not like
It's just Florida,
it's
right?
It's a circus now.
Yeah,
it's pretty much just Florida.
It's just Florida Grid League now.
Yeah,
it just all those things in terms of fitness. Just it's kind of like the barrier to entry to open a gym is so low now when you have Google and like all the access in the world. There's not a lot of like benefit to an affiliate or anything of that nature anymore, unless you're like a giant gym, right? If you're any time where the name's going to actually attract. But we even saw that towards the end of when CrossFit was doing okay, we saw the affiliate not really help the affiliates as much.
Well, the biggest problem right now in the CrossFit space is that HQ isn't doing anything for the affiliates.
That's what I mean. But even in the beginning,
they've lost their focus and lost their drive. It's all been focused on the competitive side and not about getting people into affiliates.
I just think the value offer to begin with, I don't even know how they would turn it up, because the barrier to entry for gyms of that nature are so low. You can just replicate it yourself and market yourself. You know what I mean?
I think it's just there's a lot of these people that own gyms just don't know how to do marketing right. So if HQ was doing more stuff with like bringing people into summits that you're paying all this money every year. Okay, we're gonna host our like marketing summit. You know, whether it's online or you can come in person. Like this is how you're gonna get new people in. Here's some new strategies.
Yeah.
Here's things you should be doing in your gym.
But
having more access to.
But even that, you just Google.
Yeah, people don't.
I know, but
you know that.
My point is just that there's no benefit, like there's no scalability in running that model of business anymore.
Yeah, it's different now. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, like running gyms is running gyms unless you're 24-hour fitness, right? And like food franchises make sense because they got a proprietary recipe. But there's nothing proprietary about a box gym with weights.
Some people do want the. They want to Google CrossFit, right, and like be an affiliate, or you go to.
There was a time.
You go to the search engine now. Yeah, I don't know, man.
There was a time. The
affiliates are still doing okay though, doing well. Like they're still.
Aren't they like declining by 30%?
I don't think so.
No. Really, every gym I know in Sacramento took away the affiliate.
Oh, you mean like are they de-affiliating?
Yeah,
maybe that they definitely have dropped.
That's my point. But my point is the business model of affiliates.
Yeah, maybe
is not thriving, and I can't see a way why
the members are not going anywhere. Like the memberships are
no. Those type of gyms are doing fine. Yeah. But my point is the affiliate business model.
Well, they built their entire model though, and used that to their advantage all those years. And then when they were at a comfortable place, they cut it off. Sure.
Yeah. But I think you could do a new one right now the same way with no affiliate. Is my point.
You could probably. Yeah,
because what people are going for the community and for the programming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people who go to CrossFit gyms, in general, Gen Pop people, they're just looking for somebody to tell them what to do.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, the class model, but that's again everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, that's
It's not
literally
exclusive to CrossFit or functional fitness of any kind. Or
No.
whatever.
I think if you were like coming into it fresh blood, you would never own a gym before, you would be better off affiliating personally than just trying to do a rogue, like random strength conditioning gym that's basically CrossFit knockoff. I think you'd probably be better off still affiliating for sure,
interesting.
in my opinion.
Yeah. What is it,
But-
30 G's?
It's like $2 or $3 grand a month. I mean, for the year. I mean, excuse me, annual.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not
It's not
terribly
like a lot.
expensive, but you don't get a whole lot for
It's a
what.
couple
you're
$100 a
paying.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 G's a year is not crazy. I don't know why I thought it was like 30 G's.
No, fuck
No.
no. If that was the case, no one would make it. None of these gyms would exist.
Yeah.
I don't know, in the early days, bro. I feel
Maybe
like
the early
I feel
days,
like
but-
I feel like early days. You're right. Like it made sense because people would travel or anywhere, and the name CrossFit mattered. So you'd Google CrossFit, and
Google
you'd
it,
go
yeah.
to your closest CrossFit. You
For
know,
sure.
but that's just been 10 years gone. You know, and especially with the competitors like a High Rocks, and I know a lot of like CrossFit gyms are running like High Rocks trainings.
They do, yeah.
And then like F45, Orange Theory, right? Those are the soccer moms of CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone again like the issues with CrossFit in general. Like talk about programming, like they have no programming, and that's the issue, right? There's no put together brain programming. It's like
Well, there is, but it's usually done by like these ex-athletes now that are making all of the money.
no, but even I guess my definition of programming is not a workout. Those guys write workouts.
What do you mean?
So programming has to have like scalability, progression, like teachability, right? And
Well,
like
they have all that though. Like you go like if you join like brute strength or like
Brute strength,
mayhem,
brute
mayhem.
strength has like real strength and conditioning coaches for sure.
But like so does like the biggest ones now are like HWPO, Matt Frazier's,
Yeah.
right, and then like mayhem.
But that's so niche
Brute.
down already. Like when you go to CrossFit.com.
But they're doing they're not just doing CrossFit on those apps now. They're doing everything.
That's what I'm saying, which is programming. But when you're talking about CrossFit, the affiliate model, and what is known for the last 15 years,
CrossFit just posts like
workouts. So that's my point.
But
And,
they just show scale.
and we're talking mass scale of gym. When we're talking hundreds of thousands of or tens of thousands of CrossFit gyms,
yeah.
I've been to them. I mean, you've been to more than I have, but I've been with the best, and I've been to the normal ones.
Yeah.
They're just throwing workouts at the wall.
Some do, yeah, for sure.
No, that's like the majority. And so, like, that's why people got injured.
If you have good coaching, they have like a plan, right? Like a month or
Right.
6-week plan.
But what percentage is that?
It's hard to say these days. I don't know.
I think even in its prime.
changed. In its prime, maybe because I was closer to the people that own these gyms, like a lot of them did have that
Really?
and do still. Like Danny does, obviously.
Yeah,
Like,
but
they have-
Danny has a real weightlifting background.
Yeah. for
He's
sure.
a rare breed. That's my point.
Some do just.
I'm just
like,
pointing
throw
out why the affiliate system sucked and why it failed.
Yeah.
Because they go to CrossFit.com, random workout, write it on the random board, don't really even know how to do the lifts because they don't have a weightlifting background, and then they're teaching those things, right?
They got to this point now, yeah, where there was a point where they are still, and there's all these people that were hobbyist gyms, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I loved CrossFit.
Right.
I'm gonna go start my own.
I think that was the majority.
There was a huge amount.
Yeah,
of
right.
those.
If that-
Those
if-
gyms are mostly gone now.
But so is CrossFit.
It's definitely not at its peak.
I don't even think it's close.
No, probably not. It's peak.
Because if those things again, like if all these things I'm saying lined up, then there would be no F45.
the problem with CrossFit though too is you got to remember, it was the fastest growing franchise in the history of franchises
Yeah, I'm sure.
at its peak.
Yeah, I'm sure.
CrossFit was like the world's fastest growing franchise.
Right. Which again leads to my exact
Which
point,
also
though.
means like high highs, and then it's got nowhere else to go but down.
Yeah, well, the quality not only like size wise, but I think it can continue or maintain, but the ability to maintain the quality and not have, that's all business, right? Like to scale, if you don't have your X's and O's locked in, then you're done, right? Like
Yeah.
you're built on hype.
Yeah. Well, the culture's gone in CrossFit. Like
For sure.
Well,
half the guys aren't even competing this year.
yeah, like they're doing these WFP things, which is like also the same. You're still doing CrossFit.
Yeah, or they're doing High Rocks or whatever.
And a couple of them do High Rocks because they were paid by High Rocks to do it, and they had fun and did it, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I watched a whole High Rocks thing, like a highlight tape of like an event, and it literally looks like old CrossFit. You know, like in terms of the crowd being excited, but I don't think that'll last either.
The High Rocks?
Yeah.
Well, it's not even. Yeah, that's just running.
No, they're running and then doing wall balls, and
Yeah,
then they're doing
90
farmers.
But it's 90% running. If you're
Either
not
way.
good at running, you're gonna do terrible. You got to do one sled push, and then it's all running.
I'm just talking about
cardio.
like growth in hype in general. I think High Rocks is pure hype too, because like what crowd wants to watch running?
But also, it's like where is the training for High Rocks? Like you're not gonna open High Rocks gyms. Like High Rocks isn't gonna open affiliates.
I don't know, dude. They might have them in Europe or something.
They might be like one or
trying.
two hubs or something.
Yeah.
But it's like, what do you like? You training 4 movements exclusively? Like what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean it's whatever muscle endurance conditioning you would do.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
just, it all comes down to the running, which is. Here we go.
So in 2005, there were 13 affiliates. By 2018, there were 15,000 affiliates.
It's just worldwide.
Which is peak. This is peak.
Peak, yeah. In 2020, there was a decrease because of
The Glassman and COVID.
Glassman and COVID. Yeah, it recovered in 2022 to around 12,500, 13,000 plus in 2023. 11,400 last year. By now, it's down to 9,900.
It's more than I expected.
Yeah, 9,900 is also, that's after the games controversy, the Lazar Ducic death.
Yeah.
Well, you wonder, like, everything's always delayed in business, right? Like, those obviously play a large factor. But when I look at that calendar and I think of CrossFit, because I went to the games for 10 years straight, and the real CrossFit Games to me was like 2015 to 2018.
Yeah.
Right? Because of, like you said, the culture. And so, like, the repercussions, it's almost like chicken or the egg. Like, was it the Glassman and was it the deaths, or was it just like culture's already dying?
I mean,
so
these numbers look like CK, like percentage drop off.
Yeah,
you know
exactly,
what I mean? Like it's all like it's all
business
going
tracked
through all
with
this.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like
it's higher than I thought.
I feel all this and see it. You know what I mean? Like it's just definitely like, it feels like everything's down about 20-30% on all levels, right? Like.
Yeah, I don't know. That even those numbers are interesting too, because I wonder, like,
overseas though, they were apparently like still expanding at a pretty rapid rate.
Really?
Like the UK, they kind of switched their focus to the European market because it was obviously they're delayed over there, right? So it was like, did you go to like Seoul, Korea? CrossFit is like how it was here in 2016, dude. It's like the coolest shit you can possibly do.
Yeah, fitness in Asia in general was started to go bananas in like 2018 to now. I do wonder the churn of those affiliates too, like if that rate changed a bunch.
That's a question.
Like how many of those stuck around from 2018?
Yeah,
of those 9K, and how many of them are new?
Yeah, the problem with this all, it's interesting. It's just that whole Lazar thing. That's a whole other podcast, but. I think you just had a lot of people that were feeling like they were not getting any value. And then they just use that as a way to get out scot-free, guilt-free, whatever they felt.
Yeah. It turns out that it's not what they thought it was in some ways. They thought it was all about community, and it's like, oh, well, we had an athlete die, but we sort of don't really give enough of a shit to keep it from happening again, and we didn't give enough of a shit to keep it from happening in the first place. And
I'm happy I didn't have to deal with that situation.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
But what do you do as an athlete? Like, because these issues have been everywhere, whether it be safety or underpaid or undervalued or whatever, right? Like, point to any sport we all watch, right? You point to the UFC, you point to powerlifting, talk about bodybuilding. That dude fucking is 48 years old, dedicated his whole life to bodybuilding and won $2,000, right?
Yeah.
Talk about like undervalued, underpaid, underappreciated.
Yeah.
So, like, at what point are you being like, do you take accountability as an athlete and said, well, I went too deep as an athlete to not have a job or responsibility, thinking I deserve $500K a year just to like do some double unders?
Well, then the CrossFit athletes thing.
That's what drives the whole thing, right?
I don't think so, man. At the end of the day,
you don't think CrossFit became cool because of the games and the athletes?
No, because it was already cool. It was at its coolest before all that.
I feel like that was
as far as like money, but dude, like the games was a money suck. Glassman was trying to get out of the games, like basically before he kind of quit. He was trying to reshape the whole focus because it was affecting the bottom line, which was the affiliates.
I don't know if you can point to that though.
Dude, he can, because the games cost him $30 million.
Right, but so say you snap your fingers and the games never happened. I don't think CrossFit is what it is. Because the effects aren't always bottom line. Like
Well,
the culture matters so much.
Let me rephrase that. It wasn't the games. The games definitely was good for CrossFit,
I think
but it was supposed to be the original intention up until, Reebok got involved. It was already super popular right before Reebok, the CrossFit Games, and it was like a party. It was a festival. It
Yeah, the
wasn't,
ranch
It wasn't
and all that.
like it wasn't a sport. It was a sport, but it wasn't like televised. They weren't worried about televising and all this crap that they thought was going to help them. Like they were like at the fastest growing rate they were before that, and then that happened
before Carson.
Yeah, they were like their trajectory was like full steam ahead.
How many years did they even do the ranch? I thought it was like 2 years, 3 years, then they're Carson.
No, dude, they were doing they were doing it for like way longer than that. I think the first one was in like 2003 or some shit.
Oh,
Like they were doing the games for a minute. We have to look it up when the first one was, but no, dude, yeah, Carson was like the first like mainstream one.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I just feel like because you can't like always just go by data, right? Data doesn't tell the whole story if you have the wrong data. Right, like without like a Rich Froning leading like coolness,
yeah.
the affiliates don't scale. CrossFit
But, like
is
I didn't get into CrossFit because of Rich Froning.
Yeah, but you're not normal. You're not the
You're
gen.
here, folks.
Like
But
you're not
there's a
the
lot of
gen
people-
pop. You just spent the last 15 years in this shit industry. You're not normal.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like when we're talking about, and you and I aren't moving the needle of CrossFit. Like the Gen Pop are moving the needle of CrossFit. Sure, pure data. You talk about the soccer mom,
2007. Okay, I was a little early. I was
2007.
a little early.
right? And Carson's like 2010, 2011.
I think the first one was 12.
My point is just like same thing with basketball. Like without the NBA, like like I know basketball is not the same because it's not one entity making all the money. But let's say basketball is making money. Like, yeah, like a lot of pro teams don't make that much money every year. But without LeBron James, like basketball's not cool. The kid isn't picking up the ball,
Yeah.
and then affiliates don't want to sign on. I mean, that's why like the model worked because then they would hire these motherfuckers to go do the seminars, right? It was half the cool games athletes doing the seminar. Did you really want to go to
seminar staff? Yeah.
right? Did you want to go do the seminar because you really wanted to perfect your double under, or you're like, oh, dude,
I want to see Jason Khalipa.
Jason Khalipa's going to teach me how to do it, and so
Yeah.
you're going to go there, right? Like it was a perfect storm of all that stuff. And
For
so,
sure.
like, if Glassman did just take away the games, I think that's.
Well, they weren't gonna take it away, but I think they wanted to downscale it back
Sure.
to it being fun.
And I understand losing money. Like you have to address that too, but money isn't just like a direct A to B. Like you have to understand that culture.
yeah.
So the ranch was 3 years.
Yeah, 2010.
07 to 09.
That's why I said that shit's hella early. Because I went in like 2012, and it was already fucking like the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay. 2010 then. Okay. So 3 years in Carson, 3 years at the ranch, 10 through 16 at Carson.
At
And then
Carson.
that's when they left Carson. That's when it all went to shit.
Yeah, that wasn't the greatest decision. Because it seemed like Carson was.
kinda, but like Madison was fucking terrible.
No, it seemed like Carson was like. I think I went the last year before it moved, and it was still like. And again, like, yeah, I don't know the finances.
I mean, it crushed.
Yeah,
Like,
but
I
it
mean,
still was
we
like
crushed
cool.
there.
Yeah, it still was like cool, and that's like the factor. Sometimes you got to eat a little money to be cool.
Yeah,
You know?
it was cool there. I mean, I had my best times in my life there. in
When all the
Carson.
athletes enjoyed it, like right, we didn't have these other issues, and obviously scaling something again to this level with so many moving pieces because you have the affiliates, you have the seminars, you have the games, you have like then the Gen Pop you got to worry about. Yeah, it's obviously many things to juggle on the scale they try to do it. There's tons of issues to happen, but
Yeah, I would say like the Carson peak was probably what 14 to
I mean that shit was popping, bro.
13 to 16.
I did a deadlift seminar in the parking lot and probably had 1,000 people watching me pull fucking 600 pounds.
Yeah,
Just random folks just watching me deadlift.
yeah.
Like they thought deadlifts were the coolest. They thought that was the coolest thing they've ever seen in their life.
That was like also remember that was like the daughter era. You know that
Yeah.
that 2011
Yeah.
to 2016.
Yeah.
Look at the thing. Yeah, look at Annie.
Don't call
Katrin.
me daughter.
I saw a picture of LeBlanc doing a bodybuilding show.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she is doing those now. Yeah, she was a gymnast before all this too, right?
Yeah, it seems like that's the key to weightlifting and CrossFit
Dude,
success.
think about all the CrossFitters that have no idea who any of these people are. There's a lot.
That's true. Yeah.
yeah,
But that's what I was kind of getting at a second ago is like the CrossFit doesn't need the athletes because there's going to be someone else. Like especially nowadays, the athletes are like irrelevant. Anybody can fill their spot. No one cares. People are still going to watch.
To me, that's chicken or the egg too, though. Like, is that causation? Because like if there was a really big, cool
There's
name.
not a Froning or a Frazier
That's what I'm
anymore.
saying.
Yeah.
If there was,
not,
then the people probably would care.
There's like one kind of up and coming guy.
Right.
You know, there's like the Dallin Hopper. Like,
That's,
kinda-
again, going back to like big organizations that do this well, you have to build the celebrityhood. And that's what they haven't done anymore. And I think that's where I'd probably disagree, where Reebok did play a big role because they built those celebrities.
They kind of did, yeah.
Right? So like NBA does that. It's LeBron versus Curry. The UFC does that.
This right here, like what we're seeing, the Froning Matt era, right? Like, that's never going to happen again. Like, that's over with, right? Like, there's not going to be this one person doing
Potentially.
that anymore. Or the Tia.
Potentially.
It's not.
But they said that in the UFC
There's
too.
too many good guys now.
But
They're
they
all
said
way
that in
too
the
similar.
UFC. They're like, dude, there's not going to be another GSP. And then now fucking Pereira just defended his belt 5 times, you know?
Yeah, but until they finally like put him against somebody that can actually take him to the ground, they put him against exclusive strikers until for his whole career was
He doesn't-
his
he
whole
doesn't-
career was completely fucking guided for victory.
But
That's
he
why
doesn't
no one
choose.
respects Pierre.
He doesn't choose his. Oh, no one respects Pierre?
I think that the hardcore fighter people understand.
Bro,
that
GSP's
his-
the Kobe Bryant. Everyone puts him in the GOAT.
dude. Now that Pierre is lost, though, the UFC has nobody. That's like the guy,
Pereira was until he just lost.
dude. But even then,
And
though,
Bones
people,
Jones still is.
people don't. People, yes, he was, but he wasn't though. He wasn't marketable. He wasn't really anything. He was like winning, sure.
Bro, they have fucking dolls of his head that people are paying $30 for, and I
For
saw
sure.
them
Okay,
all
but you're
over
talking
Las
about
Vegas.
In person, I'm talking about people on the streets that are paying pay-per-views, right? Like,
I don't
they're
know.
like UFC's in like one of their worst spots they've ever been in right now. Like, people aren't buying.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never heard that once.
you should listen to more UFC podcasts like me. Then
I just go to them.
you can just regurgitate information people tell you, like me.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
No, that it really is true though.
Money-wise,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure like
There's
they're.
not. They don't have a Trojan horse to like get people to buy pay-per-views right now.
I'm pretty sure like the Sphere's like the most
The Sphere's
bought.
fucking awesome. Yeah, but that
But
was
that's
like a
the
one
most-
and done.
But that's the most bought. That's 6 months ago was the most bought pay-per-view of all time.
That was one event for sure. That was but that's not happening every week.
No, but they only run 12 a year. So 1 of 12 being the best of all time is pretty good.
Okay, yes, but that card also sucked ass.
Okay, now
And
you're
also-
talking
but
as a
also-
fan. You're
but
talking as a
also-
fan.
but
We're
also
talking
no-
business, and you said they're in the
No,
worst
but
place they've ever been.
I also
your
think that
debate
those-
fucking sucks.
No.
If you said they're in the worst place they've ever been, and within the last 6 months they've sold more pay-per-views than ever, you're wrong.
Okay, you're talking about one event, yes, at a new venue, sure. Now,
But that's part of running business.
But I also think that there was also, I think they're including the illegal downstreams of those on those events, as pay-per-view purchases.
And they didn't in the past or something?
No, they always do.
So then it's comparative.
To sell
Then it doesn't
ads.
matter.
Yeah, but no one's buying it.
But that doesn't matter if the data's been the same and it's the best ever. It's the most watched ever.
I think that UFC's in trouble.
Well,
You thinking it's in trouble and saying it's in the worst
As
place
far
ever
as
is
like
different.
as far as stardom goes.
so the New York Post reporter agrees with you. Says UFC PPV buys are way down to the point where fighters who have clauses for pay-per-view points to get money aren't getting much, if any.
Yeah, I'm not
because
going by a
buys are-
tweet. If we're
buys are
talking
sold.
data-
These
and business-
but it's referring with show notes to New York
to a
Times,
New York Post.
New York Post.
New York Post is trash.
This
but
is what people have been talking about though. This is the information. This is why I'm saying this.
yeah,
I know,
This is
but
what
this
I've
where
been
it's
hearing.
coming from. This is where it's coming from.
Yeah.
I heard their pay-per-views are like literally like they're struggling to get people to buy UFC right now.
That's probably because
You're
of the
a
free
Vegas
shit.
guy now. I know you're
No.
Vegas, big
I
Vegas guy
watch,
now.
I watch UFC for
Mikey
the last
Vegas.
15 years. I've watched UFC for the last 15
same,
years.
but same.
I know,
I watch
but
every event.
I've never once felt the stream. And I know fighters. I go to the fights.
For sure.
I absorb it all. And yeah, I don't listen to podcasts every day because that sounds
I
terrible.
don't either. But I listen to a couple that have that.
I just never gotten the vibe that they're losing money or doing poorly.
the pay-per-views are struggling. Now, is the sport losing money? I don't know
No,
all their
like the
sources
hype of the
revenue.
sport's higher than ever. Is paper? That's what again, like data. We can't
But the
just.
hype isn't higher than ever, dude. That's not true.
I feel it is.
I don't think that's true.
I feel like it is.
TKO is widely known to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they own like 20 companies.
The
What does
problem-
that mean
the
either? So
problem-
my point is that we have to zoom out,
Yeah.
right? So if they're talking about illegal watching,
No, yeah, okay.
right? If illegal watching is up, then yeah, purchase pay-per-views may be down, but that doesn't mean that the sport's down.
I think the sport is also viewership is down, dude.
Really?
Because
Can we get a chart? Can we get a
couple
UFC like viewership chart over the last 10 years?
I think the fans like us that have loved the sport still do are always watching it.
I feel like,
But like people that the random people on the street that wanted to see the Conor McGregor show, that's gone,
Conor McGregor was an anomaly for sure.
For sure, but there hasn't been one like him since, right? And
No,
and they're feeling the pressure of that.
No, yeah, because he's fighting Mayweather and shit for sure.
They're feeling the lulls of the star that has a personality.
For sure.
Right?
No, Mayweather.
And then you got all these Dagestani wrestlers coming in, right, dominating everybody in the most boring fashions. Like
no
one's
boring,
paying to watch that,
and they're boring characters. Agreed. I just feel like the vein I feel like in the world is more people watch UFC or more aware about it.
For sure, because of those guys like the McGregors, though, and the Aldos and all that. You know what I mean? Like that era and all that pre-COVID UFC, like that was like peak UFC.
No, McGregor for sure was probably peak viewership for sure. Because not only the recipe of like COVID and all that, and then Mayweather, he was the marketing god, for sure. I don't disagree with that, but I never once thought that was in a bad place.
NBA's at its worst it's ever been. Down 40%.
That's why I thought actually UFC was up because all these other sports are down.
UFC's still doing well, I think. I'm not saying they're not like I didn't mean like I think.
No, you literally said they were dying.
No, but no, I didn't say they were dying.
No, quote him. He said, "Go back in the clip." You said something crazy. You said that they're declining.
They're not doing well for sure, but like. Everybody else, I guess, isn't doing well either.
Yeah, the NBA's tanking, but there's reasons for that.
NFL, except for NFL, NFL's had its best year ever last year.
College football's solid.
Yeah, NFL I think had what? Its best, literally its best.
Really?
Every year NFL has its best year, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
every year is their past year. Like, that's how it's been.
Some of the
doesn't
beauty,
make any sense.
Some of the beauty of the NFL is just like the shortened season, right?
Yeah, you get 16 games, right? 17
and they all
games.
matter. They all matter. Right? That's why like the NBA right now until like May just doesn't matter.
No one cares about baseball until like the playoffs, right? Or same with hockey.
Yeah.
It's too many games.
Yeah, same with basketball.
Well,
that's right.
They all want paid.
I'm sitting here trying to figure this out. When what we really need to do is get it back to this documentary so we can actually finish this episode. Thing one is that it goes back to what Mike was just saying about UFC, about CrossFit or whatever. The Natty bodybuilding federations are not creating stars.
Yeah.
So they're not looking at their top slate and promoting those people. It's all just still an individual promotion, whether or not they catch fire on YouTube or any of the social medias or whatever. So that's a thing. That's a force limiting factor.
Well, the issue with that is
bodybuilding.
It's not the top competitors doing it. Right. It's like the middle ground or average Joe that is really an enthusiast building the celebrityhood.
Right.
Yeah. Which is like great, right? And that's how powerlifting, like shout out my boy Johnny Candido. Like you could, if you wanted to point to one person that made the USAPL cool, it was Johnny fucking Candido.
Yeah.
And he was good. I mean, he's top 10 for sure. Like he was very, very fucking strong, but he's not the guy. He's not, he's not fucking Ed Cohn.
It seems like the sweet spot in bodybuilding, from my perspective at least, is just they're doing some steroids, but not like a crazy amount.
Yeah, I mean that's why
like
classic.
That's the most popular class.
Yeah,
right?
that's why classic is cool. The other, I mean,
that's what's driving the whole industry.
The real conversation ender and end all be all to me is that bodybuilding is, when we're talking about tiers of entertainment, right? Like whether you like the UFC or not or whatever, NBA, NFL, MLB, those are all at least A tier, right? You don't have to like them. I don't like baseball, but it's A tier entertainment. Mm-hmm. Bodybuilding is bottom tier. Yeah. CrossFit and powerlifting are second bottom tier. Like they're half a step above that bitch.
Yeah.
Like it's just never going to be cool to like follow, observe, and go to. It's a participation sport, and it probably always will be. Yeah. I don't care if you bring strippers to powerlifting and lightning bolts. It's still going to be family in the crowd or people that lift weights. CrossFit's probably similar, and even Carson, like although that was electric,
but it was all people that
it was only CrossFit affiliates, and the only reason it got electric is because CrossFit's expensive, so those people that participated were rich and could travel to Carson to watch it.
But and also another thing too is like that's back when athletes went to a gym.
So you had
now we got all this shit where these athletes don't even fucking train at gyms anymore.
Dude, that changes things so much.
That changed everything.
Bro, I just went to a jiu-jitsu tournament by the UFC, and shout out Honato. He trains Bart, and Bart trains him, and his whole gym is there because they all train with him. And so the crowd's going berserk because it's their hometown guy.
Yeah.
It's the Rocky Balboa, right? Like everyone's there because you know him, or he teaches you, or his wife teaches you, or there's some real personal connection. So the crowd's going berserk for this guy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's from Vegas, so like, or he's from Brazil, but he lives in Vegas, so that helps. But still, that's what CrossFit was like, right? Like each section all wore green because their gym was green, and Ben Smith wore green, or whatever the fuck. Like,
Yep. And then 200 people from that gym would go.
they'd freak
go
out.
watch.
And again, like it was a perfect recipe because the average, income.
That's what the affiliates were. Yeah, that's why the affiliates was important.
right, and the average
Which is not
CrossFit.
the case now. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the average CrossFitter made fucking $150K a year or whatever, so they could afford to go do these things and blah, 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 right? It's kind of like golf. So I think the long story short of bodybuilding in general is a circus. It's never going to be that cool. And natty bodybuilding,
Yeah.
although I enjoy it and have a lot of friends in it, like I'm not going to a show unless I know someone competing. Like I'm not going to go buy a ticket.
I've only ever
Yeah.
been to one.
I went to
That was
one
like
and it was here
2004.
because my buddy John North did it.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
They're rough to watch, man. It's a slow day. Only the Olympia has like music and free posing too. Like
Yeah.
these other ones, you're doing standard posing. There's no music. It's awkward as shit. Like it's just not cool.
The posing in this was not fantastic, I would have to
Yeah.
say, just in general.
Yeah.
The thing that I think that they kind of just barely grazed, and that could have been a fertile ground for making it somewhat fucking interesting, was that there was very little about their coaching, about who was coaching them. And I
or
don't
even
know if
training in general, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This was very much about just about the competition and not about how they got there.
Yeah. Which is what no one cares about. The other stuff's actually cooler. Like even just
I don't need to see someone doing fucking more lat row downs.
all of it just sucks. Yeah, it really does
Lat
suck.
pull downs.
And maybe we're all biased, obviously, because we've lifted weights for so long and watched all these documentaries. But in the storytelling, like, yeah, there was just nothing that like I could even highlight in my brain.
There was like one blurb at the beginning, 45 days out from Olympia.
Yeah.
And then it was just a bunch of random bullshit.
Yeah.
And then the final one guy's journey at the end.
Did we have anybody that we particularly liked? And
No.
I like
Anybody-
Mike O'Hearn.
I liked Mike O'Hearn too. It's the only time I've ever really liked Mike O'Hearn.
Yeah, I didn't love him either. Yeah, none of it stood out to me. Like I was so
No, it was like one
bored.
of the
I'm
worst ones.
analyzing Greg Valentino's mustache.
Yeah. It was boring as hell.
I don't understand why Greg Valentino was there at all. I mean, because
I just don't even remember. I don't even know the point of it.
I don't know.
They didn't know the point. That's the issue, right?
Who did we dislike the most? Who do we hate?
All of them too.
We didn't even talk about that guy from Qatar. That guy, he was jacked. I
No,
believe that
that's
guy was
the-
natural.
He was legitimately jacked.
Well, that's the story, right? He said he was a strength athlete, this and that, and then
Right.
they don't show him doing anything.
Nothing. Yeah. I also noticed, when they were doing the final call-outs, they were whittling down to the final five or whatever. Some of the guys that were getting the participation medal was literally a participation medal.
Yeah. Everybody gets a medal. It's like
Some of
okay.
those guys looked better than your final five, and so you're like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the argument of bodybuilding the whole
It's all
time, right?
subjective or
Yeah,
whatever.
they'll have like real blanket statements like conditioning, but like, yeah, whose eyes saying what? And that's why it is like a show, right? They don't
Yeah.
say I'm going to compete today, I'm going to the show today. It's show day, and so
A really grainy physique doesn't necessarily look good.
no.
Yeah,
I don't know. The sport's cool. It's very niche. I don't know if it'll ever be big. I mean, that's why
Of course not.
That's why World's Strongest Man is the coolest, right? Because you're actually seeing freaks do freaky shit.
Yeah, and it's something that
It's-
the average person can do.
Yeah, it's relatable, but as unrelatable because they're carrying a car, and a car's heavy, but you can't do
Exactly.
it.
That's the secret sauce to
yeah.
World Strongman.
Yeah,
right?
I almost wish they changed it up a hair more. Not as much as CrossFit, where CrossFit, you're throwing a baseball and shooting a gun or something, but probably a hair more than just stones in the finals every day.
Yeah.
Just like a hair more, like back in the day, like 70s, 80s strongman.
It was peak 80s.
Probably
80s
the-
is peak,
Probably
90s
the
is-
coolest strength sport to ever exist.
Well, that's what got me into like fitness in general.
Yeah.
My first introduction to fitness
No,
as a
everyone's.
sport
Yeah, I
was
think everyone's.
watching those strongman shows with my dad, like in the garage.
That's the secret sauce, is if they did a reality show or even a live show where it's remember Pros versus Joes? So good, right? The concept, at least. The execution was mediocre, but they need that again, right? Like, can we get?
Well, they almost killed that one kid on the football one.
I don't
and then
remember.
they had to stop doing the
I
show.
don't remember.
Well, they had like a pro fucking pro linebacker against some 20-year-old kid who never played football before, gets absolutely full speed contact.
That's an application issue. Because like my shout out Tim Sprinkles and my boy James.
You gotta Google that.
Because like my guys, they were assistant coaches at the time. They both played like D1 basketball and football. They were trying to try out for it. Like that's the perfect pros versus Joes. Yeah. Like where you're not going to die because you played quarterback at D1.
Yeah.
But then you're going to see the difference between pro quarterback and D1. Like it'd still be a huge gap. But if they did that with strongman in the sense like the 70s and 80s where they grab who's fucking not Travis, who's the other Kelsey?
Oh yeah,
Jason.
yeah.
Right. So we grab Jason, who is a fucking freak, although he doesn't look like one.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Have him go do some logs against fucking Brian Shaw. You know, like that's what the 80s
and
was.
People also know who those people are, so they would watch that.
Right? And you're going to see that, he is a freak.
Celebrity pros versus Joes.
Right? Well, that's what Strongman was.
Let's hit up the LA homies.
Strongman was fucking Columbo versus the linebacker from the Niners versus the pro bodybuilder.
Yeah, the 70s version.
Right?
Yeah.
It was the pride of UFC. It was pride, where you're just grabbing the karate guy and he's going against the sumo wrestler. Like, that stuff's really interesting when you don't know what's about to happen.
You know who did that, actually, was CrossFit put on an event where it was, like, Alex Smith versus, like, Thor in, like, a clean and jerk, competition with, like, the same weight.
Yeah.
But because one of them was more efficient.
Right, and one's stronger.
And then one's strong. Like, what's better here? Who's stronger, the efficiency or the raw strength? And they did, like, events like that, like, in Iceland and shit.
Yeah, it's
and
cool.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah,
but they got away from all that. You know?
But even them, no offense to Alec, who's awesome, but he's just not a celebrity.
No,
right?
no,
we
no,
grab Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
And we grab I don't even know who, whoever the fuck, Michael Hearn. Like you grab some random motherfuckers with 1 million on Instagram.
Yeah,
that's gonna cook. I mean, World's Strongest Man still, I think,
you
got
put
some
that
legs.
guy with his like water face routine sprinter guy. Put him against a real sprinter.
Water face.
You know what I'm talking about?
No,
he knows what I'm talking about. He's got like 8 million followers. This guy does the same video every day.
Dude, that's all these guys. Bart was sending me this like.
And he makes like millions. He has his Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Who's the military guy doing like military workouts?
I've seen one where
he's got a barbell holding it like a bazooka, running on a treadmill, and he is fucking jacked. And he is a veteran. Thanks for your service,
buddy.
But
the sprinter guy's super jacked. He's like 240.
Black dude.
Yeah.
Big ass arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's like always handing him a water.
Yeah, I just always see him sprinting corners,
fake
all
security.
majestic.
Yeah, that guy. He's got 8 million followers.
Yeah. Well, he's jacked.
Yeah.
Talk about genetics.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right, let's rate this thing.
Participation trophies.
Syringes.
Participation trophies is a really good one. I'm gonna go with that one. I was thinking about like nasty looking vein clusters, but participation trophies for sure.
Fucking 0.2.
I'll give it a 1.
Yeah.
Mike O'Hearn was in it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm giving it a 1. What's the worst one we watched so far?
This one probably.
No. We had one. We all fucking. Oh, Pianas.
Yeah.
No, I liked Pianas. I gave it like a 4.
That's because
you were the outlier.
Fan, dude. Yeah, you're a fan.
You were the outlier on.
He
that
was
one.
in this for a sec, right? They threw a blurb.
They threw
of
his
him.
like liver pills.
Yeah. Talk about steroid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know if I can give it a 1. I was pretty disappointed. Because like there's cool shit. What we should do is I told you the old MTV mini docs that they do for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Real life.
Real life.
There's a real life I'm addicted to steroids or something, or like
for sure is.
And
one
it's
of those,
so much better. And the production's probably less. Like we're talking 19
in Jersey. That's
he freaks out.
Club.
No, he gets fired. Yeah, I think he gets fired from work and he throws the table across the room, and it's all real. Like that's so much better.
Yeah, I give it a 1.
Yeah.
Bad. Not good. Won't rewatch it. Won't even probably think about it again after this turns off.
Unfortunate.
I would say I'm a little bit more inclined on this one. I'd say probably about a 2.5, something like that. Not good, but like structurally it was better than some of the other ones.
Nah.
Sure. It had a timeline.
Yeah, it structurally they did a better job. I just, the point is that none of these folks are that interesting, and the truth might be that the bodybuilder, especially the natty bodybuilder, who is actually interesting, is a unicorn.
Well, he's a YouTuber.
Yeah,
he's not a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
right. And I said that with the other, Generation Irons is like, you want to put one of these bitches together, like go get some entertainers, right?
Like,
some of it's the culture though too, because like there's some funny ass regular athletes. Like you go talk to some basketball players and some, like they're laying up like funny interviews, like. Fucking Edwards is funny on the interview. Like, there's some funny dudes. It's just bodybuilding has a personality that's not made for this. Because it's not a social sport.
No, and it's a
You
very
know?
personal denial kind of scenario, you know? It's
You're interviewing a bunch of, like, meathead monks.
Yeah.
You know, where, like, basketball, like, you're talking shit all day. You're in the locker room with 12 dudes. You're talking shit to the team. Like,
Yeah, you're not
even
in your
golf.
own head the whole time.
Golf is more social, you know, like, by a billion.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're going to get some funny dudes there. But, yeah, it's definitely it's subject and subjects issue.
Yeah. The only reason why we even know these people are pro bodybuilders because they told us.
Well, and the other
That's-
thing
that's
is all the names they're dropping. Like, I've been in this sport a long time, and yeah, I'm not a bodybuilder, but I have a lot of homies. I knew none of them.
Yeah.
And again, because the federations are split and all that, but I was like, I've never heard of any of these guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's really good ones current who are the actual best I haven't heard of also, but, like, I would at least know a face, maybe, something.
Yeah.
Like CrossFit, I've never done that, but if we're doing a CrossFit doc, I know all the names.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the game, and I didn't know any of these guys. Made it rough.
Agree.
All right, Dean.
Yeah. You can find me at Captain Gills at DeanSaddoris.ck.
Ladies and gentlemen, Third Street Barbell, Sacramento, California. I'm Silent Mike, and I'll see you later.
Sebastian _Brambila on IG.
I am Matt D. Jim McDonald. All those social media. This show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% facts. This is Spreaker Prime Podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. And we'll talk to you next time. With as jet lagged as I have been, because I literally was in 5 different time zones.